we have ourselves an Age of Mythology point of view game to watch, and it's going to be the account El Sapo. Now, I believe this is Mosca. It's a Brazilian account that is 10th on the ladder, and he's playing against Mau Mau, who is Tunison. And those are the two guys I would expect to be top 10 on the ladder. So if it isn't Tunison, it must be the other best Brazilian player that there currently is in Mosca. He's going to be playing the Thor, and I already love the opening. The map is going to be Key, and Key is the map that you need to go out, get the goats nice and early, and he's grabbed a second Berserk very early on. He's going to find the Commission spy from Tunison, who is the Huitzilopochtli player, and he's going to go in and steal at least one cow and just harass this guy, while the other Berserk, she's going to go around and find all those yummy cows, which is going to be big later on. He also managed to get this one somehow. That's wild. Managed to get that one. He's going to run that way and literally just keep wailing on this guy, because there's no way he loses the fight. He's got more HP. They've got a similar damage, I think. But anyway, the Berserk's going to run away and find all the cows, and that's a very, very nice start for Tunison. Not for Tunison, for the other guy. For Mosca. Tunison is not having a good time because he lost all his cows. Poor guy. Now, the build order on this side from the Thor, you can see there's no Dwarven Armory. First of all, because he wants to get in the middle, absolutely makes sense. But he is also up against Huitzilopochtli here, who is possibly the best rusher of the Aztecs. He has that Blood Pact rush where you can run in with your starting myth unit, come and do some big damage. You can send in your warrior priest, sacrifice a villager, and then make that guy into a Tashipla, which is the fancy big version of it. The Huitzilopochtli one's quite strong, does have that fire kind of burning damage, so that's a possibility. So that's one other reason not to go for an armory on straight away, basically, in the Archaic Age. Big buff for Thor a while ago. Maybe quality of life changes that each age that you research the armory upgrades in, they are quicker. So it was a nerf in the Archaic Age, but a buff in every other single age, which is nice. And we're going to be seeing him slowly get up to the next stage. One Berserk's going to come back and build that temple around here, probably somewhere to defend his gold mine. If there's a space between these trees, there could potentially be. Looks like he doesn't have the wood yet, so we can't actually figure it out. But his other guy is going to be looking around, seeing what the town centers look like, making sure he didn't miss any goats. Maybe there's some goats in the tiny little bits of black fog, but it looks like he's got pretty much all of it. And the temple does fit there, so that is going to be nice. This map does have some relics in the middle, and one of them is Walls Regen, which if he is going for that kind of defensive setup could be useful, but probably not the most useful relic. This one is Minor Gods, costs less. Heroic Age is really only where that matters, unless you're going for the soup start with the temple very, very early, which is my favorite North start currently. If you want to try that build order out. Villagers gather gold and wood faster. Blue Crystal Shard is just a hiccup if you see it kind of relic. Gives you that tiny little bonus, which is always nice. And damage bonus versus myth units on your towers. Not crazy, but there are going to be some walls coming up as well. And there is going to be a husbandry, a very early husbandry in for... I'm just going to call him Mosca. If it isn't Mosca, please let me know. There are other strong Brazilian players that don't currently play, so potentially could be one of those. But we're going to call him Mosca, and he's going to be going up to the next stage through Freya for a kind of later advanced time than I would have thought. I mean, he did have the extra Berserk out, so you can... Well, you are losing 50 food that way, 9 seconds of less villager gathering time. He also just had everything to food, so then didn't have enough to build a temple, and basically just didn't have the early game build order down. But he did manage to get himself 14 cows, which is pretty massive. I know this is a point of view, but you know I like to do a cow check. Oh, it's brutal. For Tunison, let's just press the button just to make sure. 2. So this guy is paid for itself in spades. He does have 2 Berserks to grab all those guys, has his husbandry already, so those will be fattening up nice and early. The Bowbender going to come and find the relic is gone. Blue Crystal Shard for Tunison. He'll be very happy about that one because he's lost out on the cows, so being able to get an eco bonus somewhere else is going to be nice. And he does know, Mosca knows that he's going to be under a little bit of pressure, so he's doing the old wooden wall around the tower trick. And I think this tells me it's Mosca, because he does this more often than anybody else does. This used to be a big thing on the old game. We used to do this in every matchup. Or at least I did. No, not every matchup, but you know. Whenever you're on the defensive, we would do this. Whereas now, just a little wall around it or some houses around it is normally good enough. And the Great Hall is going to be here to stop it as well. And just a tiny little opening here. I absolutely love it when you're up against these blood-packed fellas. And the Valkyrie is going to be going to have a little look while there are some large scorpions on Tunison's gold mine. The Valkyrie probably does want to escape that. Does this have bonus versus myth units? Ever so slightly. Normally myth units do. So you've got to be watching out for that one if you're ganged up on like this Valkyrie is. But she's going to be having a look around. She'll just have a forest fire to get some good damage done. Oh, accidentally went after the Japanese wolf. There we go. Specific kind of wolf. The War Relic is there, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. And actually just fully enclosed his base off so that these Disciples can't get in. And he's going to be living a very good life with his 14 cows. They're fattening up pretty nicely. If he wants to get full value out of them, he probably wants to move on to the berry bush beforehand, or even try to move out onto these green pheasants would be nice. But there is always potential to be kind of losing out when you're stepping outside your base. So I imagine he's going to move over to the berry bushes, considering how much kind of emphasis he's put in to defending his base with his houses, with his temple placement, and spending all the extra resources on those little wall chips. There is a spearman out for Tunison, and if there is only a spearman on his own, the Valkyrie is going to take that one nicely. I imagine this guy's just coming out to have a bit of a scout around, scouting the second town center. Tunison sees, okay, no second town center. Now I know what I'm up against. And that is also something that Mosca did as well. Mosca also shows that he's got 2 raiding cavalry. He just wants to kill that guy off. But he's showing that that is what he's going for. You can imagine that's what he's going for anyway. He did go through Freya. So if you want to get some raids off, normally the raiding cavalry makes sense. You get access to the upgrade Thundering Hooves, which make your raiding cavalry super fast, which are going to be nice. But yeah, spotted also from Mosca that there is no second town center, or at least no super early second town center for the Aztec player. Normally these Aztec players want to stay on one town center, and they either want to pressure in the classical age, which hasn't happened yet, or they want to pressure into heroic age, or just go straight to the heroic age. I have seen some players just going full classical fight with loads of spearmen, loads of archers, and it's actually not too bad. I think especially if you have gone Melina, which Tunison has gone, he does have the spearmen coming through. As they get this poison damage, yes, this is it. Very similar to the poison damage from Anubis for the spearmen, but it also counts for your archers. So pretty cool. And in comes the big amount of units. The scorpions are pretty much all spawned. Nice time to get your watchtowers through. And now the houses and wooden walls paying dividends for Mosca. He's going to be happy about that one. Can bring over Mr. Angrimson. Just heal that guy up. Repair it back up. But this is basically just defended himself. So definitely a good call not to move out to those green pheasants. It's a very greedy play to move out. It's a very easy play to make also because you think there's a wooden wall back here. I can just make a gate. I can probably walk that far. But the spearmen are quick. They do some big damage. And again, with that blood pact, you've always got to be wary. The lumber outpost of the cow bully for Tunison does scare off the Mosca 3 units. And there's also going to be a raid coming through on this side. Looks like the Berserk might get caught out. He was trying to fix up the wall because he's chopped through on this side, kind of had to chop through. So the house could potentially go down for Tunison. And the Mosca's going to have to run away. But with the tower being in range, he can just sit underneath the tower. These guys only have 10% pierce armor, like a lot of these infantry units. So the towers are going to be doing big damage. And back comes the wall. I think the wall's the right call on this side. And probably just move to another wood line back here, so he doesn't have to worry about chopping through. Key is a rough map for wood. It's probably one of the main maps that you can wood starve, which is pretty crazy. As you get a couple of really small ones here, and then a kind of larger pine forest over this side, and then you have to go to the middle. So Forest Fire could actually make a big play at some point, and trying to look through again. Looks like there are some spearmen, and one raiding cavalry does get caught out, gets surrounded there. Mosca will just kind of sacrifice that one and just go, no, that's enough. Throwing Axeman trying to come through to deal with the Spearman, but I imagine Tunison sees those and he runs away straight away. Again, sacrifices one unit just to snare up anyone chasing after him, and then is going to get away. And some more walls coming up on this side for Mosca. He's got so many throwing axemen that he should be able to deal with these spearmen very, very easily. He probably wants to try and bait these back in. There was a unit running over this side as well. Maybe that was the priest. I didn't quite see him. But normally when you're playing these Aztecs, you want to have at least one priest knocking around just so he can slurp up the red skulls, the tonali that's chilling when you kill some units or lose some units. And some nice walls coming up. I imagine it's also going to be for this gold mine. Wants to somewhat secure this gold mine. He does have a food source there. Not really that much. I think it's just one of those kind of wolves that just hang around. Does have some deers up this top side as well. And if Mosca wants to hang around here, he definitely needs to not go to the next stage. He has pre-queued Skadi, but you don't have to go through that one right now. It does have some food and wood to spend. What's his gold mine looking like? Ooh, looks like he is moving on to the next gold mine. He does have to be here if he wants to mine that gold, but he can always drop back to his main base. That dwarven mine gives him 1,000 gold, and I think that's what Tunison just wanted to do. You see, as soon as that dwarven mine got dropped down, he was like, all right, I'm just fine. The Reading Cavalry on this side also having a look around. You can just let the Valkyrie kind of do some damage. These guys are moving fast. They must have their upgrade, and yes, they do. It's also a sneaky villager action here. It is right in the corner. Wonder if Tunison scouted this one or not. Kind of playing with fire a little bit. But also, just would you expect him to be there? Would you waste your time going to look? The Aztecs don't have the best scouting. They can lay some traps down. Maybe he could put some traps on the gold mines. Could trap the hunt spot if he really wants to, but it costs 100 wood or 40 other resources. I think it's 20 wood, 20 gold, I believe it is for the smoke one. The smoke one doesn't really do anything, though. You really want the spike trap if you're doing damage, and also finds 2 settler kills. Absolutely huge. I don't know why. It just feels like when you get Aztec snipes of the villagers, it just feels so much better because they kind of want to be sacrificing some of those villagers anyway. So finding them means you're going to be in a big eco advantage. I imagine actually the Aztec matchup against Thor is a bit rough because you want to sacrifice villagers at some point to gain favor. I don't imagine Tunison's done it just yet, although he does have 60 favor, so potentially has. But also, the Thor does get his own extra units. So you're sacrificing your own villagers, then Thor gets extra units. But Tunison does have an absolutely massive army here. Loads of throwing axemen though, so the spearmen or any front line shouldn't really be able to get in and do anything. The issue is the archers can just go to town. They do have slightly more range than these guys. I think Valkyries are a great shout. Tunison needs to bring in his heroes to deal with the Valkyries, as long as they don't die, they can just heal themselves up. And a nice play on this side does manage to find quite a lot of spearmen getting caught out. And the spearmen, they do counter, but if you have more horses, especially Valkyries, you're going to win that fight. More often than not, the Valkyries are so good. I know they've been nerfed a couple of times, I think. Definitely hack. I think a hack armor nerf at some point, and maybe they're more expensive than they originally were, but they're still insane. And the villagers thinking, maybe it's a bit crazy to stay out here. I've got enough hunt, and I can come back here, deal with the cows. The cows have been being eaten for a while. But I had that advantage from earlier with those cows. Let's maybe not push it. With the Reigning Cavalry just chilling here. Are going to be greeted by a large scorpion, and the large scorpion's going to say, get out of here. And move over to this gold mine instead. Kind of makes sense. Going to distract him with the walls, get some walls up on this side. And there are going to be some archers getting caught out, which Tunison's not going to be happy about that one. Kind of throwing away a couple of those. I think he just came to check the gold mine, not expecting to find anyone, basically. Maybe some stray gold miners there. Maybe he was on this hunt that we mentioned earlier. Just trying to just have a little scout. Normally when you want to scout, you just want to send one unit just to have a look. But maybe he thought there wouldn't be any units of Mosca here. And there's going to be a heroic age in. Hill fort drop down instantly. One of the great things about Norse is if you have all your units here, you can basically always get the hill fort up. But maybe not. Maybe I spoke too soon. And there is going to have to be a frost forced out from Mosca. Tunison's going to be rooted in place. And the hill fort will be in I was going to say, he's been building lots of walls. Do we see the wall in? That could be absolutely brutal, and he is definitely going for it. He's already walled all of this side. Or we just need to wall over here, or even just get his army to surround. And then it's going to be a wall on this side. Sometimes it looks better than it is, because they're only wooden walls. They're not stone walls, so you can just kind of hit through them. There is also just a great army here for Tunison. If he uses a Blood Pact on the right unit, he could deal some big damage. But then also what Mosca could do then is just run away from the Blood Pact and just go, okay, you can just sit inside those walls until the Blood Pact goes and then go for a fight. There is also plenty of Tunison units on the outside. What are his upgrades like? He's got so many upgrades. The slowing of the attack speed, he's got the speed, he's got the poison, he's got all 3 armory upgrades to start with. And then very similar armory upgrades as you would expect from the Thor. Just 1 tier extra on the shields. And yeah, sometimes it feels better than it is. If it was stone walls, that they do trap you in here for a bit longer. I think Mosca realized that he just wasn't winning that fight. He didn't have enough units around. The throwing axemen deal big damage. He could have maybe done some damage while they were retreating, but then you have the issue that the archers might go after you, and the archers are going to melt our poor boys throwing axemen. And this is a scary raiding party, though. Trying to go after this gold mine, I imagine. Whether or not Tunison's still on it, potentially could be over this side, could be over this side still, which is where the throwing axemen are going, trying to kind of just distract where Tunison's looking, go over to this wall. It does spot some hunters, actually. Looks like Mosca's also distracted. Didn't see these boys walking through, and the spearmen are going to run through there and potentially going to lose some units. Probably just worth going after the wall instead. Could you use a forest fire here? I probably would use a forest fire. You're getting so many Valkyries caught out. This is such a rough position to be in. I don't know if he's looking. Wow, so many Valkyries going down. And that is a big play for Tunison. Got to capitalize on that one when you see it. Would have liked to see the forest fire. But hey-ho, does get out with 3 Valkyries and some Raiders. It does just scare the units away. Because if they sit there, they are going to die. And it looks like he was grabbing a town center while this is going on. So maybe that was the decision then. There are some traps coming through. Nice to see some traps coming through for the gold mines. Potentially there could be... Well, there are probably not any over there now. There's only 3 deers left. And the wall's going to be covered up on this middle position. Huskarls are one of the units of choice. Absolutely makes sense against these Kiwa archers. And the only counter that Tunison really has, or proper hard counter to the Huskarls, are going to be those Shorn ones, which he doesn't have access to yet, as he is in the Classical Age. Shorn ones are like a Haspis Fanatic kind of combo. He does have access to them now, though, as long as he drops a Great Temple, the castle-type building, Obsidian Butterfly in, and Mosca does have to be worried here. These Obsidian Butterflies with the upgrade are brutal raiders. He's done a great job of walling up, though, so they're probably not the best against walls. They don't have any crush damage. They're mainly AoE. That's the big play with them. Also getting a throwing axeman behind walls. I'd like to see stone walls and goatees. The goatees are already on the way. Stone walls it's not a tech that everybody gets, but it's 400 resources and it doubles the HP of all your walls. So big play, really. Raiding Cavalry is looking around here, sees all the nobles' huts. So potentially could be going into those different type of archers. Going into the Eagle Warriors instead. But don't see anything yet. And the Raiders just generally having a look. Coming over here, seeing the gold mine. And it's going to just be a bit of a distraction. But Tunison's going to turn around and shank that. I don't think any villagers should go down there. Nope. Your villagers are strong. If you see one unit that's like medium upgrades or less, oof, this is the Obsidian Butterflies. They are ridiculous against throwing axemen, not any backline. But if you just see one unit, just say, yep, turn it around, shank it, you're going to win that fight normally. It's when they get to heavy or champion that, well, especially champion, they deal with some big damage. The goatees are going to be coming through. Obsidian Butterflies. Gatherers do have to be worried. And I think this is probably... The Aztec balance in general is very, very good. But these Obsidian Butterflies, the balance is not good. Maybe we're going to see it now, especially with the Blood Pact on it. He doesn't have his special, though. That's maybe a bit of a mistake. If he would have had a special there, so many of those gatherers would have gone down. Decides to not go after the tower. Maybe Tunison just feels bad doing it. But you would lose so many villagers there. As the Obsidian Butterfly special with the upgrade is brutal. He's going to see some gatherers on this side. He does have 6 seconds left of his life. Also could go after these dwarves. And it's just... That's it without the blood pack, by the way. It almost does the same thing. Absolutely disgusting. He had about a 10 villager lead, 15 villager lead, and it has just been equaled just like that. So those guys think they need a nerf. Anyway, we've been too busy paying attention to that. And our Thor player here goes, well, if you're going to just do that and attack my town center here, I'm just going to attack your main base as well. Going after the main base, there's no towers in. So if there's no real units, also a great counter to any annoying pesky myth unit that's raiding you is the Frost Giant. The Frost Giant is always the answer to one annoying myth unit. He can walk after them, he can freeze them, and it's a guaranteed kill as long as there's no friends that will take down the Frost Giant for you. There is a Warden Wall that's not finished here for Tunison, so the Valkyries will be able to hit that one down pretty quickly if that's what he wants to go for. And I think might be a little bit caught out is Mosca. He probably could have gone for this and got his Valkyries out. The Valkyries might be able to run away anyway. Oh, I assume Ballistics is probably in for these archers. But that does mean the whole of this army is in the main base. So for now, Mosca is fine. Does have his gold mine. He also has Tyr on the way. So Tyr, he'll be able to have his Fimbulwinter. And does have to deal with these obsidian butterflies. He's got walls up absolutely everywhere. How are these guys getting in? I guess they just run around the long way. And once they're in, they're in. Even has to do these cheeky little walls just to make sure that the obsidian butterflies aren't in. Oh, I guess this one's not finished. And as we said, they're only wooden walls. Now, Tunison going after this town center, so the dwarves are going to have to make the Great Escape again. And he is... that was probably a preemptive drop of the Dwarven Mine, considering he hit the next stage 5 seconds later. Could have had an extra lump sum of gold in there, but oh well, it doesn't matter. Fimbulwinter going to get dropped down. Going to deal some decent damage to the economy. I was going to say eco, then went economy. And also pairing with a couple of portable rams is nice because the villagers want to stay inside. They don't want to be here to take out the portable rams. So they should be able to go to town on this town center and will be able to take it down. And it will be going down definitely. Villagers here. Right. Some damage going on to them, but there are only Goaties here. Goaties don't really do too much damage against anything that's not a myth unit. They do collect favor, though, so you do have to, you know, they are useful somewhat. They do something, but against something like these Tekiwa archers, they're just going to do absolutely terribly. Favor in the bank is 95 favor, so could be building some myth units, but deciding instead to spend that on bravery for your Huskarls, or just more damage for your Huskarls, and makes them kind of semi-siege weapons, makes them into similar to Zeus hoplites. And I can imagine he needs a big ball of those if he's going after this archer bull. Probably needs to run back. I think Tunison's going to grab his town center back, and it's going to be back to a relatively even game. Score-wise, Thor here, he is in the lead, but I still think it's pretty even, to be honest. There's just Mythic Age is in for the Thor here. He did have more villagers earlier, so more eco did go his way. But this is a scary looking army. Nice portable rams coming in there. There's not that much front line for them, so they're going to get in, deal with the damage, get out. Some throwing axemen to scare away the Ocelots warriors, but they're going to get chowed down upon from the massive archer bull, which is always what Norse struggles with. Norse struggles with big archer bulls, and this is why Huskarls are great, but you need loads of them. And how many hill forts does he have? He has 2. He has 20 in the queue, and he was getting an upgrade and levy soldiers. So he was building a grand total of none. But hill forts take ages to build. You need to build them with your units, your throwing axemen, your goadies, your Huskarls, and it's just a little bit rough. He can afford one now. I imagine he's going to drop one over here. Wouldn't be a bad decision to whack them next to a gold mine. But Tunison already coming over just to raid this gold mine anyway. The boys with the ram do not manage to take down the town center. It looked like it Or maybe they did. Wow. This is the thing about point of views. You don't know. I imagine this town center's up. I think it's just a little bit of a glitch. And the boys do defend. There is a spike trap here. Just go after that with one unit. Take that one out. And now the Huskarls are going to slowly start to come through. But he's struggling for gold here. So it does need to drop down another Dwarven Mine. Dwarven Mine does have 6,000 gold now. So that's a great way to spend your favor as well. Don't need to go after myth units if you don't want to. If you need the gold as Thor, always go for it. He does have this one, though, that didn't get finished off earlier. No, it didn't. Still has 5k left. And in come the Huskarls. He's got 36 of these total, 29 of them over this side. And because they're good against buildings now, they are going to absolutely take them down so quickly. With their 68% pierce armor as well, means that they tank buildings for absolute days. This is a great use of Purge, though. Can he get out of the circle in time? No, he can't. But there is a damage cap on it, so loses about half those Huskarls. And the Shorn ones are going to be on the way. With the town center, Fortunason definitely going to be going down. A nice champion Huskarl raid. What are the upgrades looking like? Bronze everything. Could start to get iron in, which is exactly what he's doing. And take out that great temple as well while he's at it. Try to go after those Shorn ones. We said those are the answer to the Huskarls. Look at them. Not if there's only a couple of them. Even though there's only a couple of them and they're trickling in one by one, they're still doing well. But Tunison feels he's too far behind. He did also lose this tower while this was or town center while this was going on. The Huskarls were raiding this bottom side as well. We had the Goaties, Mr. Kettle Clips in the back, and Tunison was back on his gold mine. But I keep calling him Tunison. It's Mosca. Down these Smurfs, man.